Hi guys, I guess we're live. Welcome back to Sportsstars Pro Kabaddi League live stream. ये हम हर हफ्ता करते हैं जहाँ पे मैं और मेरे कोलीग मयंक बैठ के PKL एक्शन के बारे में बात करते हैं. The matches that have gone by, stats that have happened in the last 1 week, interesting games, interesting performances, and as it stands now, knockouts की रेस कैसे चल रही है ये भी हम डिस्कस करते हैं हर हफ्ता. Mayank is off on leave, so I don't think he'll be joining us today. But so that sort of gives us an opportunity to wind this up faster, क्योंकि हम usually 1 या 2 घंटे के लिए बात करते रहते हैं इसके बारे में. There's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. अगर आप जो हमारे साथ जुड़ रहे हैं, आपने मैचेस देखे हैं और आपको कुछ बताना है हमें, या you have comments or questions about the games that have happened, please drop them in the comment section and we'll be happy to take it. Is hafta, this is the first week of action in Hyderabad, and I have to say Hyderabad की audience is something else, man. हमें सुनाई देती है जब हम ब्लॉग करते होते हैं या फिर टेलीकास्ट देखते रहते हैं. We can hear just how loud the crowd is, and it's great because Telugu Titans have had a lot of support despite how bad their season is going. और उनके लिए जब वो छोटी सी टैकल करते हैं या फिर एक रेड मारते हैं, there's so much support for them from the crowds, which is absolutely lovely to watch. And Telugu Titans actually have a win this week, surprisingly. But I think हम effectively ये बोल सकते हैं कि knockouts की जो रेस है उसमें से तो हम Telugu Titans को count out कर ही सकते हैं, because they have too many losses and the teams ahead of them are a little too strong, I think, for them to even mathematically bring it up. So I guess that's one team that has its decision made. But इट्स इंटरेस्टिंग बिकॉज नाउ उनकी प्रायोरिटी अगले सीजन के लिए कैसे स्ट्रेंथन किया जाए ये बात हो सकती है. एंड दे हैव अ लॉट ऑफ वर्क टू डू. सिलेक्शन में ही उनके बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम्स थे. So whether they get better at that, or if they pick a different team, who they decide to let go, these are things that'll be very interesting to see. पर हम इसके बारे में बात तो जरूर करेंगे in bits. First, let's start with the points table. It's been a very, I'll just open up the website so we can take a look at the standings. अभी ऑब्वियसली नाउ सबकी आंखें ये टॉप 6 पे ही होंगी, because it is the top 6 teams that make it to the knockouts. So hold on, I'm just gonna present that to you so you guys can see this. It's very interesting to see how this top 6 is changing, because the first 3 slots, उनका एक dominance जो हम कह सकते हैं, that is, I think, more or less settled in terms of how we're looking at their performances and just how they've been doing in general. But that final maybe 2 3 spots, 8 9 10, these are teams that are really struggling to get into that 6, into the top 6. So whether they manage to do that or not will be something that's really interesting for us to see. अभी अगर आप देखेंगे, पुनेरी पल्टन, बेंगलुरु बुल्स, जयपुर पिंक पैंथर्स, यूपी योद्धास, बंगाल वॉरियर्स, तमिल तलैवास. I think the best storyline here is obviously Tamil Talaivas. हम एक there was a time in the season जब ये 11th या 10th ऐसे places में रहती थी. आशान कुमार के आने के बाद this team has revived its fortunes so brilliantly. And ये पवन की जो absence है, this is something that we have now stopped talking about. So I think great development in terms of how this team has come along. सो अगर ये टॉप 6 आप देखेंगे, पुनेरी पल्टन हैज, डिस्पाइट दैट वन लॉस, यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो कि एक लॉस है इस टीम का. But if you just count everything else out, which was in the Maharashtra derby, if you count everything else off, we can easily say that Puneri Paltan is one of the most consistent teams in the PKL this time. And it's nice to see, because usually हम Puneri Paltan को बहुत well researched और properly youth development वाली teams के तौर पे देखते हैं, एंड उसका जो बेनिफिट है पुनेरी पल्टन को इस सीजन मिल रहा है. बेंगलुरु बुल्स ऑल्सो हैव हैड क्वाइट अ नाइस रिसर्जेंस, बिकॉज पहले उनके रिजल्ट्स बहुत मिक्स बैग टाइप की होती थी, पर इस हफ्ता दे हैव हैड 2 losses एंड 1 win. सो अगेन दे स्लाइटली कंसिस्टेंसी वाली इशू तो थोड़ी है. देखो घंटी भी बज रही है, सो बात जो बोल रहे हैं सच ही बोल रहे हैं. कंसिस्टेंसी की इशू है बेंगलुरु बुल्स का, एंड वी टेक अ लुक एट दैट व्हेन वी talk about their matches that they've played this week. Jaipur Pink Panthers, UP Yodhas, Bengal Warriors, all of them have had consistency issues. कभी अच्छा करते हैं, अगले मैच पे अगर आप जाके देखेंगे, then the things that worked for them in the previous game stop working for them in the next game, which is just disappointing to watch. Okay, I see Shubham Jadhav has joined us. Hi Shubham, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us this week again. चिराग सरदाना हाय, आपने अगर मैचेस देखा है तो प्लीज अपना कमेंट सेक्शन में डाल दीजिए। शुभम कहते हैं कि अशन कुमार के आने के बाद तमिल तलेवास का गेम ही चेंज हो गया। एब्सोल्युटली, हम लोग अशन कुमार को अगर आप उनसे बात करेंगे एंड इफ यू जस्ट लिसन टू हिज प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंसेज, हिज बेसिक फंडा इसकी टेंशन नहीं लेने का है, वील फिगर इट आउट, जो भी है देखा देखा जाएगा। एंड दे कम वेरी टैक्टिकली strong when they come for a match. So for example, ये बंगाल वॉरियर्स की जो गेम थी इस हफ्ता, दे न्यू एग्जैक्टली किसको कहाँ खिलाना है। अजिंक्य पवार की यूटिलिटी, विच इज समथिंग वी बीन टॉकिंग अबाउट फॉर अ वाइल, आई थिंक दे स्टार्टिंग टू गेट दैट राइट। कभी कभी उन्हें एक सेकेंडरी रेडर के तौर पे लाया जाता है, कभी कभी उनको डू और डाई की स्पेसिफिक एक रोल दे दी जाती है। सो डिपेंडिंग ऑन द गेम एंड डिपेंडिंग ऑन द ऑपोजिशन, इन लोगों की रोल्स बदलते रहते हैं, एंड आई थिंक द प्लेयर्स लुक वेरी क्लियर अबाउट व्हाट दे हैव टू डू. So that really works out for Tamil Talevas. In this lot, I know we've been making a lot of fun of Bengal Warriors all along, but the last game that they played, I think we have to give them some credit. मैं बार बार बोलती रहती हूँ कि इस बार why do we discuss Bengal Warriors at all? It's just so pointless. वो week after week वही करते आते हैं. But that 41-38 win against Bengaluru Bulls, there was so much to like and not like about that game, which we will talk about in detail. Chirag Sardana, please tell us about Patna Pirates. Okay, all right. Usually हम Patna end के लिए रखते हैं, but we'll start with Patna Pirates because you've asked for it. So yeah, this is what the top six looks like. अगर यही top six अगला हफ्ता भी होगा, we don't know. But this looks like a pretty decent lineup to sort of uh, take on whatever happens, at least for the next week or so. I expect Patna Pirates to break into the top six. I don't see Haryana Steelers and Gujarat Giants में तो I have भरोसा ही उठ गया है. So I don't see them coming back. U Mumbai is having a little bit of a rocky there are three losses, so ये तीन जो हार हुई है उनका, I don't think it's going to help their cause, so they need to start winning. But U Mumbai, Dabang Delhi and Patna Pirates still have a very good chance because they've been good. Their kabaddi has been generally good, especially Patna and Delhi. Delhi has come back to winning ways this week with 2 wins, and Naveen has got a super 10 after quite a while. इस सब के बारे में हम 1-2 मिनट में डिस्कस कर लेंगे. So this is basically what the points table looks like before we start moving on. ओके, तो ये हुआ पॉइंट्स टेबल. अब इसके अलावा भी एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग चीज है. इस हफ्ता वी सीन 3 वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट माइलस्टोन्स जिन्हें हाईलाइट करने की बहुत जरूरत है बिफोर वी हेड इनटू टीम बाय टीम के जो डिस्कशंस है. First, Pardeep Narwal continues his record breaking spree. I'll sort of present those screens for you guys as well so that you can take a look at it. Pardeep has become the first player to cross 1,500 rate points. Very very interesting, and nobody is surprised by this because सबको पता है कि अगर कोई करेगा तो प्रदीप भी करेगा. So it's great to see him कि उनका भी form inconsistencies hai, but he's still been scoring better, at least in the last couple of weeks. So he's become the first player to sort of cross 1,500 rate points. उन्होंने बोला है कि he would like to end the season with 1,600. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि बचे कुचे जो 5-6 मैचेस हैं उसमें he needs to get 100 rate points. अगर ये होता है कि नहीं, we don't know. अगर होता है then that'll be really awesome. It'll be great to see if Pardeep can knock off that record as well. इनका सेकंड इसके बाद जो है जो इंसान है, दैट्स मनिंदर. ही इज अबाउट 350 पॉइंट्स बिहाइंड हिम, सो दैट्स अ ह्यूज गैप, एंड प्रदीप हैज अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम टू स्टे ऑन दैट टॉप स्पॉट. पर मनिंदर ने बोला है कि वो पूरी कोशिश करेंगे कि वो प्रदीप के आगे जाए. एंड रिमेंबर, मनिंदर हैज मिस 2 सीजन्स बिकॉज ऑफ इंजरी, सो द फैक्ट दैट ही इज ऑन दैट सेकंड स्पॉट इज एब्सोल्युटली इंप्रेसिव. सो प्रदीप नरवाल का ये एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग रिकॉर्ड रहा है इस हफ्ता, बिकॉज ऑफ विच ही वाज फेलिसिटेटेड एज वेल. ये जो वीकली अवार्ड्स होते हैं पीकेएल में, ही वाज फेलिसिटेटेड देयर आल्सो. एक मिनट, मगर सुरेंद्र गिल जैसा सपोर्ट कोई नहीं दे रहा है प्रदीप को. एब्सोल्युटली एब्सोल्युटली, no doubt about that. And Surinder Gill also has had some inconsistencies in the last couple of weeks, which is showing in UP's results. So discuss करेंगे. शुभम, आप हमारे साथ जुड़े रहिए. You've been with us through a couple of our previous streams, so I know you'll stick around. But yeah, this is one sort of milestone that happened this week. The second one is, hold on, I'll just change the screen you guys are seeing. This is, and we're gonna, because Chirag had asked us for Patna Pirates, I think there's no better way to begin the Patna Pirates conversation than to think about this match. Shadlu became the defender who has the most number of tackle points in a single match. इन्होंने 16 tackle points लिए थे, सब के सब super tackle से आए थे, and this was in Patna Pirates match against Dabang Delhi. In this game, he managed 19 points on his own, and Patna, he had 16 tackle points to his name and 3 rate points to his name, जो bonus और एक touch से आया था. So it's been massively interesting to see just how uh, Shadlu has sort of just woken up to his responsibilities. हम लोग ये पहले हफ्ते में बात कर रहे थे जब इरानियंस लेट आए थे. शादलू की जो पहली वीक थी पीकेएल में, ही वाज वेरी अनसर्टेन. वो उसे पता ही नहीं था कि वो क्या कर रहा था, या he wasn't even attempting a few tackles. From there to sort of see him consistently take maybe high fives or just get involved in tackles and just manage something like this match was unreal. अगर आपको वक्त मिले तो ऑब्वियसली आप यूट्यूब पे जा सकते हो, पीकेएल के चैनल में इनके हाइलाइट्स है, हमारे खुद के चैनल में वी हैव द हाइलाइट्स of this match, which you can go and check out. It's absolutely insane. Even in this story, if you scroll down, you can just see it's insane. 16 tackle points, and he's super tackled Naveen for all of them. And just to see him, वो एक बंदा वो पूरा डिफेंस को सॉर्ट ऑफ लेके चल रहा था. एंड द फनी पार्ट इज the previous record for most tackle points in a game is 11, and that one of the people, Mohit Chiller, had it, and Neeraj Kumar, who is the captain, who's there in this Patna Pirates team, he's the one who held that record. So to see, Neeraj was there to see Shadlu overtaking that sort of mark, and वो press conference में बोल भी रहे थे कि अच्छी बात ही है कि कोई आगे जाके ले रहा है, and it's great that that person is in our team. So Shadlu's had an insane week this week. He had a good game, I think, against the Telugu Titans as well. But Siddharth obviously was able to tackle him a little better. But this match was absolutely insane. अगर आपने देखा नहीं है तो please जाके देखिए. Um, I'll make the highlights available for you in the comment section in case you're interested to watch that. That's something you can do as well. So this is yet another. I've made it available in the comment section. आप लोग जाके देख सकते हो. This is another milestone that really worked out for Patna Pirates and Shadlu in particular. Shadlu is still third in the defenders sort of tally this season. Ankush is still leading that, but देखते हैं अगर he finishes a little better because he started performing a little more consistently for Patna. शुभम कहते हैं कि पटना पायरेट्स के कॉर्नर अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं मगर कवर का अच्छा सपोर्ट नहीं मिल रहा है. एब्सोल्युटली शुभम, सही बात है. विच इज व्हाई वी सी परफॉर्मेंसेस लाइक दिस. एक बंदा जो टीम को लेके जा रहा है. इन रेड और डिफेंस पटना की प्रॉब्लम यही रही है कि सपोर्ट, इट्स नॉट दैट वेल ऑयल्ड यूनिट दैट वी सॉ लास्ट ईयर. सो दे आर ट्राइंग टू गेट देयर, सो देखते हैं इफ दे कैन मैनेज दैट और नॉट. Ishu says Shadlu is amazing. Which team is your favorite? Okay, Ishu, I liked Patna Pirates last season, but then this season I think I'm leaning a little towards Puneri Paltan. The team is brilliant, and the youngsters, we've been seeing them perform really well over the last couple of seasons. So it's been nice to see them getting results. Army Boy, welcome back to the stream. आप पिछले हफ्ते भी थे हमारे साथ. UP Yodha win the final match. Are you talking about UP's final match, or are you talking about UP will win the final? Sarah, clearly bata dijiyega and we can discuss that for sure. So that's the second milestone. The third milestone this week has been a very interesting one, and मैं अभी पुनेरी पल्टन की बात कर रही थी. This record goes to Puneri Paltan's captain Fazel Atrachali, who has now become the most successful captain in the history of PKL. And the interesting part is he has gone ahead of the franchisee's former coach Anup Kumar, जिसके पास 52 wins थे. Fazal now has 53 to his name. Fazal की अगर कैप्टनसी जर्नी देखा जाए, it's very very interesting because पिछले सीजन he was with U Mumba. Simply, if you look at Yumumba and Puneri Paltan alone, Yumumba में उन्हें support नहीं मिलता था defense में, and he had to really babysit all of his players, which he's still doing by the way. The only difference is कि Yumumba में performances उतना अच्छा नहीं था, consistent नहीं था, पर Puneri Paltan, he's feeding off the performances of his team. बहुत सारे ये जो यंगस्टर्स हैं उन्हें बढ़ावा देते हैं और उनकी परफॉर्मेंसेस खुद बहुत अच्छी रही हैं, लाइक मोहित, असलम, आकाश. Mohit has been great in defense and raiding. So if he sort of feeds off the energy of his team, and दिखाई दे रही है because he had a few good games. I think he has about 40 plus tackle points. थोड़े क्वाइट गेम्स रहे हैं इस हफ्ते, but he's had one interesting stat to his name, which is he becomes the most successful captain in PKL history. And ये हफ्ता उनका ये एक स्टैट था पिछले कुछ हफ्तों में, he became the top defender in the history of the league. He is also the first defender to go over 400 points, 400 tackle points in the league. So if everything is going Fazal Atar Chali's way this season, अगर उन्हें title भी मिल जाए तो, and I'm sure he'll hold this dearer than most of the other records that he has. Okay, Ishu says, yes, sis, my favorite is Paltan and Patna and also Delhi, but Delhi is not working hard as they need to be. Delhi ka defense to so hi gaya yaar. I kind of feel like that's kind of happened. But this week, I think their defense has been a bit better. In the Patna match itself, the coach thought that their defense worked a little better than their Raiders, which is always debatable. But then is hafta they've also had a few wins as well. So aisa nahi hai ki they've not really been doing well. They obviously beat Patna, they beat Haryana, and Naveen is back in form. So thoda, I think here and there they need to fine tune some things. But agar karte ki nahi, we'll have to wait and watch. Okay, Pardeep ka pass nahi hai, win match ja. I don't understand what that means, Chirag. Can you help me? Can you just explain yourself a little better? Thoda explain kar lijiye and we'll take that forward. Patna Pirates who? I like Naveen, but he's only working hard on it. ओके तो ये हम डिस्कस भी कर लेंगे। नवीन ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ नवीन काम कर रहा है। आप मैच नहीं देख रहे हो क्या? विजय भी कुछ अच्छा ही कर रहा है इस बार। एवर सिंस ही इज कम बैक, ही इज बीन डूइंग अ लॉट ऑफ द हेवी लिफ्टिंग, स्पेशली वो 2-3 मैचेस जहां नवीन चल नहीं रहे थे। विजय ही था जो मैक्सिमम काम कर रहा था वहां, सुपर टेंस भी लिया था बेचारा। उन्हें थोड़ा क्रेडिट दे दीजिए। एनीवे वील गेट देयर। पर ये थे 3 जो माइलस्टोन्स हैं इस हफ्ता। वन इज फजल बिकम्स द मोस्ट सक्सेसफुल कैप्टन. Shadloui picks up the most tackle points in one single game. He also has the most super tackles in one single game, which is 8. And Pardeep Narwal became the first raider to cross 1,500 raid points. So it's been an interesting milestone filled week for us in PKL. But is sab ke aage, let's discuss the teams if possible. I'm going to do this quickly because as you guys know, FIFA World Cup bhi chal raha hai, aur hamare Sportstar website mein we have coverage going on the FIFA World Cup, and there's a match going on right now, Uruguay versus uh, South Korea. So there's a lot to sort of work on and watch. So we're going to try and wind this up a little soon this week. देखते हैं अगर होता है कि नहीं. Okay, let's begin as requested with Patna Pirates because we've been talking about Patna Pirates. We've had 2 interesting games. They lost 30-27 to Delhi and they beat Telugu Titans 36-35. थोड़ा क्लोज नहीं हो गया इस हफ्ता? दैट्स काइंड ऑफ बिन हैपनिंग विद देम फॉर अ व्हाइल. पिछले सीजन की तरह उन्हें दिक्कत हो रही है. उनका पूरा जो डोमिनेंस है ये एक टीम पे जिताने के लिए, दे आर नॉट एबल टू डू दैट वेरी वेल दिस टाइम. वो दिल्ली गेम भी पटना की हो जाती अगर सचिन होते तो. It was quite an interesting game for Sachin to miss. Sachin had gone to participate in some game for the Rajasthan Police, so he was not there for that match. पर अगर सचिन होते and with Shadloui in that kind of form, Delhi would not have stood a chance. In fact, वो स्कोर लाइन इतना क्लोज आता भी नहीं अगर आप देखेंगे तो. बट ऑफ कोर्स पटना पायरेट्स की इस बार का जो टॉकिंग पॉइंट है, दैट हैज टू बी शादलू. शादलू हैज बीन very very consistent. He had 16 tackle points and he had about 4 or 5 if I'm not wrong. I'm not exactly sure कि ये टाइटंस वाली मैच में कितना स्कोर किया था, but he had a good sort of tally there as well. देखते हैं एक सेकंड. Oh, Shadlu, hold on, let me quickly check his points. In that 35-36, Shadlu had 4 points, right? So Sachin was back and in true form 13 points leke gaya is match mein. But I think that Delhi win, the Delhi loss would really sting for Patna because एक बंदे ने पूरा जो था पूरा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी अपने सर पे ले लिया. इनफैक्ट हम लोग न्यूज रूम में बात भी कर रहे थे कि एक पॉइंट में ही वाज गेटिंग रेड पॉइंट्स एज वेल, व्हिच इज व्हाट द रेडर्स वर नॉट डूइंग. लाइक रोहित एंड मोनू एंड ऑल द अदर गाइज वर नॉट एबल टू गेट रेड पॉइंट्स. बोनस भी नहीं ले पा रहे थे, व्हिच इज द वेरी लीस्ट दैट दे एक्सपेक्टेड. एंड हम लोग बात कर रहे थे कि एक टाइम था व्हेन I think in the second week or something when Shadlu kept telling Ravi Shetty ki I want to raid, I want to raid. And somebody had asked him about this in the press conference and Ravi Shetty said वो defender है, वो defending करेगा. Raiders हैं जो raiding कर सकते हैं, देखा जाएगा, मैं decide करूंगा कौन कहाँ जाता है. So I was just thinking, my God, Ravi Shetty, he must be like swallowing his words because Shadlu ये हर चीज कर रहा है, raiding, defending, जो भी था इस मैच में वही कर रहा था. So it's an insane individual performance. You don't get matches like this very often. So if you haven't seen this match, please, again, I'm telling you, go and check it out. Link मैंने इस comments में डाल दिया है, आप जाके देख सकते हो. Second match में, of course, Sachin वापस आ गए थे. I have an issue with uh, Patna Pirates allowing Telugu Titans so much space in the match. But Siddharth Desai had a very, very good game. He was able to tackle Shadlu, not literally tackle Shadlu, but उनके लिए एक plan था. Shadlu maybe has met his match in Siddharth Desai because Siddharth की strength भी उतना ही है. He's a tall guy. He's not muscular, but he's decently well built. So sort of he's met his match in terms of strength and power with Siddharth Desai. So that gave him a little bit of trouble, but it's still 4 points, and Sachin was back, and they managed to get the win. So 2 games, one loss, one win. That finds Patna out of the top six, which उन्हें थोड़ा बहुत चुभेगा तो जरूर. But अगर ये ऐसे ही परफॉर्म करते रहे, and if that defense, जैसे कि शुभम बोल रहे थे, the covers are not great, उनका सपोर्ट उतना नहीं आ रहा है, we're still depending so much on the corners to do their work, which is I think the story for many many teams in this season, Shubham. So Patna is no different. And agar unko thoda bahut support और मिल जाए, and if they can be cleaner with their tackles, more clinical with their raids, Patna will be better off in that points table. So वो एक है. Chirag, I hope you're happy that we've discussed Patna. Ishu, who can win this PKL trophy? अरे, this is a very dicey question. अगर आप ऐसे पूछेंगे तो we'll have to look at current form, how current form is sort of working. And if you're going to go on current form, then Puneri Paltan, Bengaluru Bulls, all of them have a very good chance to win that title. But again, it depends on the day. Yaar. All these teams have lost to smaller teams as well. So फाइनल के दिन ऐसा कोई प्रेडिक्शन मैं नहीं करने वाली, बिकॉज जब जब मैंने प्रेडिक्शन किया है तब तब कुछ गड़बड़ हो जाती है. सो आई एम जस्ट गोना कीप क्वाइट. ठीक है. ऑलराइट, सो दैट्स पटना पायरेट्स. The second team that we will discuss today is U Mumba, because उतना है नहीं बोलने के लिए उनके बारे में. They had 2 losses this week, 20-34 to Tamil Talaivas and 26-32 to Telugu Titans. I think both games they've been a little scrappy. उनका डिफेंस, सुरिंदर के बिना वो डिफेंस थोड़ा टूथलेस लग रहा है, आई फील. उनकी जो एक काम प्रेजेंस थी, that I don't think is coming through. Rinku is a very loud person when it comes to taking care of how a team goes, and that's not a problem. मैं ये नहीं बोल रही हूँ कि ये problem है, पर वो जो एक pressure situations में ये लोग panic कर जाते हैं, that's not the presence you want to calm you down. So I think that is really showing in terms of how Yumumba's performances have come through. Guman Singh continues to top score for them. I think against Telugu Titans, he had Telugu. Oh, by the way, this Telugu Titans game is one they shouldn't have lost. अगर आप ये वर्ल्ड कप में भी बात कर रहे हैं, लोग जो where they saying just because the team is smaller doesn't mean you assume that you will win over the team. That completely applies to PKL as well, because I think Umumba somewhere somehow took Telugu Titans a little too lightly, and they were completely overplayed. Um, their rate points were fine, but Telugu Titans tackle points were better, which is a big surprise because हम लोग defense की बहुत बेइज्जती करते आए हैं इस live stream में. But they had 10 tackle points in this game, while Mumbai managed only 8. And the more clinical part is Telugu Titans managed to inflict 2 all-outs on New Mumbai, and New Mumbai didn't manage to inflict a single one. So this is a very important part of the games when you look at it. इनकी strategy में कोई कमी हो गई होगी या फिर execution में कुछ हो गया होगा, because of which Mumbai was not able to execute so well this week. इस गेम में Guman again top scored with 8 points. Jay Bhagwan has started contributing here and there a little more with 5 points. Rinku had 3 to his name. But again, you have like people like Harinder Kumar and all who've consistently been leaking points. So again, I don't, ये इसकी like एक solution क्या है, or how they're planning to tackle it is something I don't know. What really was interesting for me is I think Haider Ali Ikrami was doing so well for Umumba, but they've not been playing him as regularly. At least in this game, he didn't feature. So जब हमने पूछा था, I think he had a small injury and he had recovered. But again, it's not making much difference to their sort of tally, because अगर आप देखेंगे ये तमिल तलैवास game में भी he didn't feature. In fact, he was on the bench, but he didn't feature. And Guman again was left to do all of the work on his own. You had Mohit Khaler here and Ashish and Jai Bhagwan and all of that. They'd given a few opportunities to people like Shivansh Thakur and bunch of others. But then if you look at it, 2034 was a big, big loss, 14 points. And यहाँ पे अगर आप देखेंगे तो टैकल पॉइंट्स आधे थे तमिल तलैवास के. So तमिल तलैवास managed 18 tackle points while Umumba managed just 9. This is absolutely unacceptable. And they didn't inflict, again, there were no all outs inflicted. So Anil Chaprana, होल्ड ऑन, शुभम जादव है सेड यूमुम्बा की रेडिंग गुमान सिंह पर ज्यादा डिपेंडेंट है, करेक्ट। और गुमान को कोई अच्छा सपोर्ट नहीं कर रहा है रेडिंग में, एब्सोल्युटली एब्सोल्युटली, वो एकदम अकेले ही अपना काम कर रहे हैं, विच इज व्हाई आई एम सेइंग आई वाज क्वाइट सरप्राइज कि इकरामी को खिलाया नहीं जा रहा है, स्पेशली आफ्टर दे सेड कि ही इज फिट। सो अगेन आई थिंक दे सेविंग हिम, या फिर उनकी फिटनेस थोड़ा और बेहतर हो, विच इज नॉट अ बैड थिंग टू डू। आई मीन 100% फिटनेस अगर प्लेयर की नहीं है तो उन्हें खिलाना नहीं चाहिए, but it's really affecting the team. And this week they just looked very ordinary. So understandable that they have those two losses to their name. अब अगर हम ऑर्डिनरी टीम्स की बात करें, देन ऑब्वियसली टू अदर कंटेंडर्स आर हरियाणा एंड गुजरात। दर्द होती है यार इनकी कबड्डी देखने में, स्पेशली हरियाणा। हरियाणा की टीम बहुत अच्छा है ऑन, नॉट जस्ट ऑन पेपर गाइज। आई मीन वी बीन सेइंग दिस अबाउट तेलुगु टाइटंस की ऑन पेपर दे आर ग्रेट, बट यू नो दे डोंट परफॉर्म वेल। अगर आप हरियाणा की टीम देखेंगे, दे आर अ यंग साइड, इट्स नॉट लाइक दे आर ओल्ड प्लेयर्स हु हैव हैड glory like some 5 years back and they're not playing. Achhi team hai, Jaydeep, Manjeet, Meetu, all of these guys are now, Amir Hossain Bastami, all of these guys. They're such a good team. But I don't know क्या हो जाता है, ये मोमेंटम में चल जाते हैं। अगर चीजें चली नहीं उनके लिए, या मंजीत नहीं चला, या फिर रेडर्स चले नहीं, देन दे जस्ट समथिंग हैपेंस एंड इट ऑल कम्स फॉलिंग डाउन। अगर आपको याद होगा हरियाणा की प्रो अगर आपको याद होगा तो हमने एक स्टोरी, अब आई डोंट नो इफ यू गाइस हैव रेड दिस, पर हमने एक स्टोरी किया था वेयर मनप्रीत ने बोला कि हरियाणा की प्रॉब्लम ये है कि टीम कोच की बात नहीं सुनती, which I think was very interesting to know at the middle of the season when he was saying, you know, the team is not listening to me, players don't follow the instruction that the coach is giving. And that actually was very evident because Manpreet after a point stopped coming for those the mid time ka jo chat hota hai and ye coaches ka jo coaches corner and all hota hai, he just stopped coming for these sort of sessions to talk to the players, और वो बस गुस्सा करके वहां वापस just bench पे रह जाता था. In that one loss I think against UP, he just didn't come and congratulate the players at all. This is the copy that we're talking about. अगर आपको पढ़ना है तो आप स्पोर्ट्स स्टार की वेबसाइट में जाके पढ़ सकते हैं, या फिर just Google this and you'll find it. Excuse me. So I don't know if that is still the problem, because I kind of feel like Haryana ki jo ek team spirit hai, that's sort of come back. They're still a little better placed in terms of how coordinated they are, but the problem is wo coordinatedly bura kar rahe hain. So they started their week with a 41-28 drubbing at the hands of Puneri Paltan, and यहाँ पे भी मीतू नहीं चला, मंजीत तो था ही नहीं. uh, Again here the issue is you come up against, like what Umumba's problem is, you depend on this one person to do all of the work for you, which is what went wrong here as well. Manjeet chala, my bad, he was there but he had just about, I think he was given just one raid, and Prapanjan had to take over. He has about 8 points. Meetu had about 4 points. Vinay has actually been a pretty good option for Haryana, but usko utni opportunities mil nahi rahi hai. I don't know. Maybe if the better thing to do would be to play Vinay more often and give him some more mat time for him to do better. अगर ये उनके लिए work कर सकता है, then he and Meetu relies a lot on momentum. Meetu को somebody needs to encourage him or somebody needs to work on the other side for him to feed off. So if that can maybe be an option for him, then Haryana might do better in rating. So their results this week have been a 28-41 loss to Pune and 42-30 loss to Delhi. And this Delhi loss, incidentally, came after Delhi won against Patna Pirates. The funny part is that despite Delhi winning that match against Patna Pirates, I don't think it felt like a win for them because Shadloui took the entire spotlight away. So when they came back, and that game, Naveen was abysmal. I think he had like somewhat 1 point or 2 points or something like that. And it was just insane that they came back and Naveen scored a super 10 immediately after in that match. So एक sort of grudge match हो गया था Delhi के लिए because they had to perform really well and they had to get back to winning ways. And Naveen being a very crucial cog in that was quite evident. Naveen जब चलता है तो Delhi चलती है. So clearly that win against Haryana will do them a lot of good. शुभम कहते हैं कि हरियाणा की प्रॉब्लम है पटना के बिल्कुल उल्टा. पटना के कॉर्नर्स चल रहे हैं और कवर नहीं चल रहे हैं. हरियाणा के कवर चल रहे हैं और कॉर्नर नहीं चल रहे हैं. Fair enough. And honestly, I also think I missed one game. Okay, I don't know. I think I missed the Pune match. उसका आधा मैंने मिस किया है. But I see that Mohit has been sort of pushed out of the starting 11 in starting 7 in one of these games, which is great. I'm looking at the Pune match. Mohit was not there. I kind of feel good seeing that because Mohit was really holding this team back. एंड द फैक्ट दैट वो है नहीं, पर टू बी फेयर शुभम, जो है वो भी एडवांस टैकल्स, ये सारे प्रॉब्लम्स पिछले सीजन भी थे हरियाणा के. आई डोंट सी ग्रोथ एट ऑल. Like it's similar problems, similar issues. Players not listening to a plan, players not following strategy, players not trying. थोड़ा पेशेंस से काम ले सकते हैं, वो नहीं हो पा रहा है हरियाणा से, बी इट रेडर्स और डिफेंडर्स. So that's kind of showing they've been very scrappy. बहुत inconsistency है. इस टीम का एक philosophy ही नहीं बन रहा है. Like what their strength is, we're in the third leg, and I still don't see like a defining feature of this team under Manpreet. So again, I'm not really pegging them to go into that top six, but देखते हैं कि क्या होता है. आगे आके जाके देखना पड़ेगा if they manage anything in this week. So that's Haryana. Gujarat is the other team. Gujarat has had one of the poorest, one of, if not the poorest defense. Sorry, you'll have to excuse me. हाफ एन आवर के लिए अगर ऐसे कंटिन्यूसली बात करते रहेंगे तो यही होगा. Yeah, so Gujarat has had one of the poorest defenses this season, which is really sad because Ram Meher Singh, he's had good raiders under him, but he's also really built very good defensive units. So the fact that that's not happening is not great for Gujarat. They had two losses this week. They lost 35-31 against UP and 45-38 against Bengaluru Bulls. So उनकी भी कुछ वक्त ठीक नहीं चल रहा है, and I'm not counting on them to make the top six. They'll have to get very consistent if they have to make that top six. But for what it's worth, I think credit where credit is due. Pratik Daya is back in like regularly for Gujarat, and he's been such a breath of fresh air for them. बहुत अच्छा रेड करता है. Initially he was as an all-rounder they were using him, पर उसको अभी एक रेडर के तौर पे ज्यादा यूज किया जा रहा है, एंड ही इज सपोर्टिंग चंद्रन रंजित वेरी वेल. राकेश का जो फॉर्म गिरा है, लाइक आई थिंक अगेंस्ट बेंगलुरु बुल्स he had just 1 point or 2 points or something like that. That's really affected this side. Because earlier Rakesh इस टीम को लेके चलते थे उनके कंधों पे, but the fact that that's not happening, great to see other raiders also step up, but I think just the fact that the Raiders are having to cover up for Rakesh when he's not in form, and that the defense is not working, is what is affecting गुजरात insanely here. So अगर आप लोगों को और कोई thoughts है गुजरात के बारे में या हरियाणा के बारे में या any of the teams that we've discussed so far, please drop it in the comments section. So we're done with Patna, Yumumba, Haryana, Gujarat. We spoke about Dabang Delhi a little bit as well, where they beat Patna 30-27 and they also beat Haryana 40-32. So they're still in 8th spot because of this. उनकी रिकवरी होने की चांसेस बहुत ज़्यादा है अगर नवीन का ये फॉर्म चला तो. डिफेंस के बारे में हम बात करते आए, सो आई एम नॉट गोना रिपीट माई सेल्फ ऑन दैट. देयर डिफेंस हैज बीन वेरी डिसअपॉइंटिंग आफ्टर दैट फर्स्ट वीक. बट if this is going to be a problem for them consistently, then at least रेडिंग तो चले. एंड अच्छी बात ये है कि विजय मलिक जब से वापस आए हैं उनका फॉर्म ठीक रहा है. ही इज मैनेज्ड अ फ्यू सुपर टेंस, एंड नवीन की गैर मौजूदगी में ही इज द वन हु इज बीन होल्डिंग दैट रेडिंग यूनिट टुगेदर. एंड जैसा किसी ने पॉइंट आउट किया था, आशु मलिक इज ऑल्सो डूइंग रियली वेल. एब्सोल्युटली. एंड आशु इज यूजफुल एज अ सपोर्ट डिफेंडर एज वेल. वो बहुत अच्छे से टैकल्स की सपोर्ट करता है. सो अगर नवीन जैसा मंजीत, नवीन और आशु पहले चलते थे, अगर विजय, नवीन और आशु अब चल सकते हैं, then actually this Dabang Delhi side might get back to what it was in that first week. And I hope that happens. That'll only be good for the league. So that's Dabang Delhi. Telugu Titans, like we said, they are easily the team to be properly knocked out of the season as it stands right now. उनके पास सिर्फ 2 wins है इस पूरे लीग स्टेज में. So far they might have more, but so far they've managed only 2 wins, and one of those wins came this week against U Mumba. हमने बात किया था इसके बारे में. U Mumba was pretty scrappy, but they've lost 36-28 to Bengal Warriors and 35-36 to Patna Pirates. Disappointing बात तो ये है कि तेलुगु टाइटन्स हैव एक्चुअली कम दिस क्लोज. लाइक द लॉसेस आर ऑलमोस्ट रियली क्लोज, स्पेशली दिस वीक. उनकी जो हार हुई है, दे आर ऑल क्लोज लॉसेस. इफ दे वर जस्ट अ लिटिल मोर क्लिनिकल दे कुड हैव मैनेज्ड. द गुड थिंग अबाउट तेलुगु टाइटन्स इज कि सिद्धार्थ देसाई इज बैक इन फॉर्म एंड इट्स शोइंग. वो बहुत कॉन्फिडेंटली रेड कर रहे हैं, एंड इट्स नॉट जस्ट फ्रैंकेनस्टाइन की तरह चला, अंदर गया, कुछ लोगों ने टैकल करने की कोशिश की और वो बुलडोज करके वापस आ गए. ऐसा नहीं है. He's being smart about his raiding. इस हफ्ता अगर आप देखेंगे तो वो जा रहा है, ही इज लुकिंग एट द डिफेंडर्स हु कुड मेक अ मिस्टेक एंड टैगिंग देम. सो सीइंग दैट सिद्धार्थ की जो गेम है ऐसा इवॉल्व होना, आई थिंक दैट्स ग्रेट. ग्रेट न्यूज फॉर तेलुगु. बट द प्रॉब्लम इज कि दिस इज हैपनिंग टुवर्ड्स द एंड ऑफ द सीजन. पहला जब चाहिए था ये नहीं हुआ. आई स्टिल डोंट नो व्हाट्स हैपनिंग टू अंकित बेनीवाल. पूछने की कोशिश की है बट वी डोंट हैव इन्फॉर्मेशन येट. अगर मिले तो मैं आपको बता दूंगी. But he was really good for them last season along with Rajneesh, and to not have them also I think really affects Telugu Titans. They're not the raiding superpower they once were when Rahul Chaudhary and all were with them. So I think that is kind of showing for this team. Two losses, one win. They find themselves at the bottom of that table. वो gap बहुत ज़्यादा है, so I don't think they're moving from there anytime soon. पर गुजरात की राशि अगर ऐसी चलती रही तो गुजरात will give them company at the base of that points table. अगला जो टीम है तमिल तलाइवास. तमिल तलाइवास की बात तो हम करते आए हैं. We've spoken about Ashan Kumar, we've spoken about Narendra, how instrumental they've been in bringing this team back. But I think this week another person that we should talk about is Sagar Rathi. सागर इस टीम के कैप्टन है. इन अ लॉट ऑफ वेज पहले जो 2-3 हफ्ते थे व्हेन पवन्स इंजरी हैड हैपेंड एंड व्हेन द टीम वाज स्ट्रगलिंग, उनके ऊपर बहुत दबाव था. तो उनका प्रायोरिटी ये बन गया कि टीम की हाल देखा जाए रादर देन फोकसिंग ऑन हिज ओन डिफेंडिंग. आशन कुमार के आने के बाद व्हाट हैज एक्चुअली चेंज्ड इज ही हैज हैड अ वर्ड विथ सागर स्पेसिफिकली, लाइक वर्किंग ऑन सागर्स जो वीक पॉइंट्स है, उनका अगर एडवांस टैकल करने की एक प्रोपेंसिटी है, इस सब के ऊपर आशन कुमार ने बहुत गहराई से काम किया है. एंड वो दिख रहा है. सागर्स टैकलिंग हैज बिकम सो मच मोर कॉन्फिडेंट. मैं बेटर नहीं बोलूंगी बिकॉज ही वाज द बेस्ट डिफेंडर. सो to say that second best defender rather next last season, to say that he needs to learn how to be better is not fair, excuse me, not fair on his talents. But Sagar has been a little more confident in the last couple of weeks and he's gotten a little bit of support as well. उनका डिफेंस बेहतर हो सकता है तमिल तलाइवास का, but they have been good. They've been keeping up with the defenses of the teams that they've been taking on, and they have 2 wins to show for it this week. They have a 35-30 win over Bengal Warriors, where they allowed Bengal to come back, mind you. ऐसा नहीं है कि it's flawless. अगर momentum छूट जाती है then they do slip a little bit. बट आई थिंक कंपोजर मेंटेन करने की एक जो बात है वो तमिल तलेवास ने बहुत अच्छी तरह से सीख लिया है आशन कुमार से. सो दैट्स रियली वर्किंग फॉर देम. एंड दे ऑल्सो हैड अ 34-30 विन ओवर यू मुंबा. So Tamil Talevas, as it stands, I think they form the base of that top six, which is insane, given that where they were at one point in the season, they very, very well deserve to be in that sixth place as it stands right now. अगला अगर हम देखें तो जयपुर. जयपुर हैज ऑल्सो बिन अ वेरी वेरी इनकंसिस्टेंट टीम. 42-39 का विन था यूपी के अगेंस्ट, बट दे लॉस्ट 31-39 अगेंस्ट पुणे. यहाँ पे अर्जुन देशवाल कंटिन्यूज टू बी द रेडिंग सुपर पावर फॉर देम. उनके इन स्पाइट ऑफ हिम हैविंग सपोर्ट फ्रॉम लाइक भवानी राजपूत, यहाँ वहाँ राहुल चौधरी भी चली जाते हैं. बट इफ यू लुक एट इट, Arjun Deshwal is actually doing a lot of the work on his own. उनके ऊपर ही उनकी एक confidence level is definitely a little ahead of the others in his team. बराबरी की एक रेडर नहीं है जो उनको support कर पाता है properly. So I think that is a problem for Jaipur. And Jaipur, they have good defenders. ये नहीं है कि उनका defense बुरा है because they have the purple sleeve as well. And Reza Mirbageri has been very very good in the last couple of games. पुणे के against वो चल नहीं पाए because I think Pune came prepared for him, prepared for the kind of muscular power that he brings. But I don't really have much of a problem with their defense, even though is bar ek loss ho gaya Pune ke against. But they can be a little better in terms of just how coordinated they are. Shayad agar wo theek ho jaye, and if they can give Arjun some support, that would be really, really good. The Pune match sort of exposed them a little bit because agar at one point Pune's Raiders were avoiding Ankush and Reza, and they were going only for the other sides like Saul and all of these people. Saul has been better in the last couple of games, but he's still leaking points. So the biggest trump card for Jaipur is hafta has to be Arjun. 199 rate points ke saath he now has that green sleeve, and he's been such a talent for them. Jaipur की पूरी जो एक फोर्स है वो अर्जुन के साथ और उसी के आगे खत्म होती है. So the rating has to be a little better. हमने ये डिस्कस किया है कि भवानी राजपूत की जो यूटिलिटी है that hasn't been that great as far as Jaipur is concerned, because उनकी यूसेज मुझे समझ में नहीं आता है. How they decide how often to bring him up is something I do not understand. आई होप यू गाइस कैन हियर मी नाउ. यही हम बोल रहे थे कि शुभम कह रहे हैं यहाँ पे कि पुणे के खिलाफ जयपुर डिफेंस की वजह से हारी है सिर्फ 3 पॉइंट्स. एब्सोल्युटली, एंड मैं यही बात बोल रही हूँ आपसे शुभम कि पुणे स्पेसिफिकली अवॉइडेड अंकुश एंड रेजा, लाइक ऑल ऑफ दीज गाइस, ऑल ऑफ दीज स्ट्रॉन्ग डिफेंडर्स, दे अवॉइडेड देम. एंड ये बात भी है कि मोहित जब भी डू और डाई रेट पे गया है, ही पुल्ड पॉइंट्स एंड इन सम केसेस मल्टीपल पॉइंट्स एंड केम बैक. सो इन अ वे आपको डेफिनेटली आप बोल सकते हो कि जयपुर की डिफेंस चली नहीं, but the other thing is chali nahi because it was planned for. So a lot of Pune's wins come tactically, and this is one game that I think you can see how evident their planning was. आप अगर जाके highlights जाके वापस देखेंगे, then you will realize this, that these the good defenders or the people who can actually think and pull people back were actively avoided in this game. So Jaipur, yes, उनकी defense needs to buck up, but I think their defense hasn't been poor. मैं सिर्फ ये कहने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ कि इतना पुअर नहीं हुआ है. देव बिन गुड, देव नॉट बिन द बेस्ट, बट देव बिन गुड. सो अगर कंसिस्टेंसी मेंटेन करके रख सकते हैं और अर्जुन देशवाल को थोड़ा और सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं, देन जयपुर कैन मेंटेन दैट टॉप 6 में उनका जो स्पॉट है, दे कैन मेंटेन दैट. All right, so we finished U Mumbai, Patna Pirates, Haryana, Gujarat, Dabang Delhi, Telugu Titans, Tamil Talaivas, and Jaipur Pink Panthers. अगर Mayank क्या होता, he'd be so surprised कि मैं कैसे how we're running through each of these things so quickly. पर डिस्कशन के बिना थोड़ी अधूरी है ना, थोड़ा झगड़ा तो करना मांगता है, especially like last week. And I'll tell you, if at all there are new people here, I'll tell you what when we get to that team. Okay, we've got 4 teams left: Puneri Paltan, Bulls, Bengal Warriors, and UP Yoddha. Let's go to UP Yoddha. They've got 1 win, 1 loss this week. 35-31 against Gujarat, जहाँ वो जीते थे, and 42-39 which they lost against जयपुर. अब यहाँ पे हम ऑलरेडी डिस्कस कर चुके हैं व्हेन वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट प्रदीप कि सुरेंदर जैसा उनको सपोर्ट नहीं मिल रहा है. सुरेंदर उनकी उतना सपोर्ट कर नहीं पा रहे. He's had a few niggles I think here and there, and he's just, his effectiveness has dropped a little bit. But I think UP's defense also needs to buck up just a bit more. Like इतने सारे points लीक करने की point नहीं है. You have to, and at one point, especially if you look at that Jaipur game, you had Surinder working even in defense, like he was helping with some super tackles and everything around here. So that's not going to help. I think Nitesh Kumar needs to sit down and figure out ki what is happening in that defense. In fact, उन्होंने captaincy give up भी इसीलिए किया था because उन्हें defending पे focus करना था. So the numbers need to reflect na, if that's the choice you're taking. What I found a little heartening about this week is James Cometti got some more time, and he got 4 rate points to his name as well, which is absolutely great. Nice to see him getting some mat time. I hope कि उन्हें और भी opportunities मिले. Surinder Gill in this game against Jaipur got only 3 points, but in their second game, hold on, against Gujarat, again you had Rohit who stepped up with 10 points and Pardeep. Surinder obviously was not in this match at all. And you have the likes of Gurdeep and Mahipal and all, who they've been fielding in place of, not in place basically, just as additions. They're giving them some more mat time to see who will work. Mahipal, I think, looks a little promising, but again, unki development as a raider needs to be a little better. Gurdeep as well, but Rohit has been the standout young talent for UP Yoddhas this season. और उनका एक evolution बहुत अच्छा है. I think there's no better person to learn than in with the likes of Pardeep and Surinder and all. आप देख देख के ही सीख सकते हो कि raiding कैसे करनी है और कैसे नहीं करनी है. So I think they've just been a little scrappy. अगर defense थोड़ा better हो जाए, and okay, if Rohit is the only option that Pardeep will have consistently, then Rohit and Pardeep have to figure out how to work as a team. And एक टीम जिनसे ये सीख सकते हैं इस पुणे। पुणे में असलम और मोहित एक टैंडम में रेड करते हैं। सो इफ यू लुक एट इट, you have teams where one player is getting 15 points, 16 points, 19 points, like in Jaipur. Arjun was getting about 18, 19 points. And Pune में आप देखोगे कि मोहित और असलम साथ में वो points लाते हैं. And they might probably have a little more because they're working together. So revivals, making sure you can bring back your players on time, all of these are very important aspects जो यूपी आई थिंक is still not fine tuned well enough. एंड अगर सुरेंदर की फिटनेस ठीक हो जाए एंड अगर वो उनकी जो पहले 2-3 हफ्तों का जो रेडिंग फॉर्म था, इफ दैट कम्स बैक, देन दिस टीम अगेन बिकम्स वेरी फॉर्मिडेबल एंड दे कैन मेंटेन देयर टॉप 6 का जो स्लॉट है, दे कैन मेंटेन दैट। दे आर करंटली फोर्थ इन द स्टैंडिंग्स बिलो जयपुर पिंक पैंथर्स। So that's UP. Next we have Bengal Warriors. गाइज हमने, अगर आप में से कोई भी यहाँ पे रेगुलर है तो आपको पता है कि हमने बंगाल वॉरियर्स को कितना दुख दिया है इस लाइव स्ट्रीम में। We've said a lot of things about them, that their defense doesn't work, that it's still dependent only on Maninder, and that continues to be true. Maninder is still one of the only consistent players in this team. उनका फॉर्म सब steady रहा है throughout the season. He's had support here and there from Shrikant Jadhav. Ab Bengal Warriors have started giving opportunities to Manoj Gowda as well. And that's working, not working. That'll take some time. I'm not going to judge that so soon because unhe abhi consistent opportunities milna shuru hua hai. But I think the first, okay, they played 3 games this week. Okay, so they played 36-28 win against Telugu Titans. They lost 35-30 against Tamil Talaivas. And they won 34-20 against U Mumbai. Ab, I think they had one more, right? They played one more. They played the Bulls, if I'm not wrong. हाँ, last जो game था उनका 41-38. That was against Bengaluru Bulls. That was very important. Sorry, कैसे miss कर सकते हैं हम इस match को? Uh, this game, I think, especially showed you that Bengal is capable of learning. हमने बार बार बोला था कि सब मनिंदर पे डिपेंडेंट नहीं हो सकता है। बंगाल ने आपका गुस्सा बेंगलुरु बुल्स पे निकाला। सही बात, सही बात, absolutely. But that game was so good, यार. The fact that the defense was able to step up, and बेंगलुरु बुल्स कोई छोटू मोटू टीम है नहीं, वहां पे भी बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, पर भरत अकेले ही काफी है टीम्स को डिफिकल्टीज देने में। बट आई थिंक दीज गाइज मैनेज टू कीप हिम क्वाइट, डिस्पाइट वो चले पर उन्हें स्ट्रेटेजिकली क्वाइट किया गया, उनको बेंच पे बिठाया गया। द डिफेंस showed that it is capable of doing these things. So Bengal Warriors, they need to go back and see, okay, हम ये एक मैच में कर सकते हैं, शायद हमें ये बार बार कर लेनी चाहिए। अगर वो कर पाते हैं, then I think they'll be fine. They can easily stay in the top 6. I don't know why they keep struggling. यही, this team is capable of performing like this, but they choose not to in so many instances. इस मैच में भी अगर आप देखेंगे, मनिंदर was great, but he had very, I'm not going to say very good because I would have expected a little better from the Raiders, but he had good support from Shrikant Jadhav. And the fact that यहाँ पे मनिंदर स्पेशली बहुत tactically चल रहे थे, his raids were very very quick, he was not wasting time, he was not trying to tire out the opposition. In fact, एक passage of play था जहाँ I think it was a super tackle opportunity in the second half, and Maninder, दो defenders बाकी थे बेंगलुरु बुल्स के लिए, Maninder was trying to corner one person towards the एक्सट्रीम मिडल ऑफ द मैट। ओके, मिड मैट के मिडल में वो जो एक्सट्रीम पॉइंट होती है, टच लाइन, नॉट टच लाइन, लाइक बैक साइड का जो मैट लिमिट होता है, वहां पे ही पुश्ड हिम थ्रू। उसका फोकस उस डिफेंडर पे था ही नहीं। द पॉइंट इज ही वांटेड टू ब्रिंग द अदर डिफेंडर, ही वांटेड टू सॉर्ट ऑफ ड्रॉ हिम टू अटैक, एंड देन ही गॉट अ पॉइंट एंड वेंट बैक, एंड ही वाज नॉट ग्रीडी। उन्होंने वेट करके दूसरा पॉइंट लेने की कोशिश की ही नहीं। देयर वाज नो एलिमेंट ऑफ टाइम वेस्टिंग, which is how they managed to get back. Bengal Warriors were trailing in this game and they managed to get back. And in fact, I think like 12 point या कुछ deficit था एक point में, and they managed to get that through, and then they won quite decisively 41-38. So this match is one thing I'm going to hold Bengal Warriors to, because ये quality है उनका, they are capable of winning games like this, and Bengaluru Bulls कोई छोटा team नहीं है that they have managed to win like this against a weaker opponent. इनफैक्ट रणधीर सिंह को जितना गुस्सा आया वो लास्ट 30 seconds में, दैट शुड शो यू कि दिस गेम वाज इजीली बेंगलुरु's फॉर मोस्ट पार्ट ऑफ द गेम. सो आई होप दैट बंगाल वॉरियर्स प्लेज लाइक दिस, बिकॉज उनका जो कैलिबर है टीम का, दे डिजर्व टू बी इन द टॉप 6, बट इट्स जस्ट दैट दे प्ले लाइक दे डोंट नो कबड्डी समटाइम्स, स्पेशली उनके डिफेंडर्स. Vaibhav, all these guys need to be a little better, but Girish Ernak, आई थिंक उनको इतना क्रिटिसिज्म मिला, शायद उनको कोच से भी 2-3 डांट पड़ गई होगी, दैट ही केम एंड सेड आपको क्या लगता है मुझे डिफेंडिंग आती नहीं है, एंड देन ही जस्ट स्टोल द शो अगेंस्ट बेंगलुरु बुल्स. So that was great to watch. I was very entertained. अच्छी खासी game थी to end the week of kabaddi. So I hope we get to see more of that from Bengal Warriors. Um, from them, let's talk about the Bengaluru Bulls. They've had surprisingly 2 losses and 1 win. They beat Gujarat 45-38, but they lost to Pune 35-33, another thrilling game. And they lost to Bengal Warriors 41-38. बंगाल वॉरियर्स की बात तो हम बोल ही चुके हैं. भारत पे डिपेंडेंस इस टीम को थोड़ा ज्यादा हो रहा है, आई थिंक. विकास कंडोला चल नहीं पा रहे हैं उतना, एंड इट कान बी, इट्स नॉट फनी एनी मोर कि आप एक रेडर हो जो सिर्फ सेकेंड हाफ में चलेगा, या फिर सिर्फ जब चीजें थोड़ा ज्यादा ही टेंस्ड हो जाएंगी तभी आप चलेंगे. दिस डजंट वर्क. In the Bengal Warriors game, Bharat had 10 points, Vikash had 5. Neeraj Narwal, who's been sort of pegged as the third raider, they want to model him as that third raider, had only 3 points. So यहाँ पे अगर आप देखेंगे, बहुत सारे प्लेयर्स थे जिन्हें पॉइंट्स लाने की कैपेबिलिटी है पर ला नहीं पा रहे, एंड दे आर रिलाइंग एंटायरली ऑन भरत. अगर भरत नहीं चले, विच हैपेंड इन द पुनेरी पल्टन गेम, पुनेरी पल्टन मैनेज टू कीप भरत क्वाइट. I don't know how they did that, but they managed to keep him. वो चले ही नहीं उस गेम में. He had just 9 points, and those 9 points happened in the second half. एक sort of comeback हो गया था, where he sort of in quick succession managed those many points. In fact, 22 minutes के लिए I think he was on the bench, which is absolutely brilliant from Pune. बहुत टैक्टिकली उन्होंने ये गेम संभाला. पर अगेन व्हेन यू लुक एट गेम्स लाइक दिस, एक बंदा ठीक है बेंच पे बैठ रहा है, विकास क्या कर रहा है, आई डोंट नो इफ इट्स अ फॉर्म एलिमेंट और क्या हो, वी डोंट एग्जैक्टली नो व्हाट्स गोइंग रॉन्ग. बट आई थिंक इफ बेंगलुरु बुल्स नीड्स टू बी अ बेटर यूनिट, वो बहुत इनकम्प्लीट दिखाई देते हैं, बिकॉज हर एक गेम में कुछ ना कुछ छूट जाता ही है यहाँ पे. And yeah, it's just these things that sort of not really great when it comes to how they match up against their opponents. अगर आप ये पुनेरी पल्टन का एक स्कोर कार्ड जाके देखेंगे, this game was very close for most part of the game, I think. And then Aslam had that last raid where this game was heading towards a tie, and Aslam managed 2 points in the last raid to sort of get them off to 35. पर अगर आप यहाँ पे देखेंगे, रेड पॉइंट्स में बेंगलुरु बुल्स हैड मोर रेड पॉइंट्स, टैकल पॉइंट्स में both of them had equal number of tackle points. All outs is where Puneri Paltan managed to do better because they inflicted 2 more. So these strategic things, trying to get that first all out, playing on the momentum, these are all very important things. Jo Bengaluru Bulls still wo finishing they're not able to round off their edges. They still look a little raw. So I think that is not going for them very very well. भारत पे अगर डिपेंड करते रहे तो ये शायद उनके लिए अच्छा नहीं होगा. भारत, फॉर व्हाट इट्स वर्थ, आई थिंक हैज 185 पॉइंट्स इफ आई एम नॉट wrong. He's managed to get, he's second after uh, uh, Arjun Deshwal. Am I right? Am I right? हाँ नहीं. Oh, 185 तो मनिंदर है. 196 is where Bharat is at. So personally उनका सीजन बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है. जिस दिन भरत नहीं, उस दिन बेंगलुरु बुल्स क्या करेगी? बेंगलुरु को पुणे की रेडिंग से सीखना चाहिए. यस, जैसे 3 रेडर को रोटेट करना है, एग्जैक्टली जैसे हमने बोला था. दिस इज समथिंग दैट इवन बंगाल वॉरियर्स कैन लर्न. असलम और मोहित साथ में रेड करते हैं, एंड नाउ आकाश शिंदे has been added to that. We'll get to पुणे. पुणे के बारे में है कुछ बोलने का. So we see that they're doing what Patna did last year. पटना की वो जो 3 prong रेडिंग था लास्ट सीजन, जैसे सचिन गुमान और प्रशांत कुमार राय और फिर मोनू गोयत एट सम पॉइंट, all these guys used to work. That is exactly what Puneri Paltan is doing, except they have better players doing it. That's it. यही डिफरेंस है. एंड अगर ये पुणे सिस्टम से बेंगलुरु बुल्स, बंगाल वॉरियर्स, जयपुर पिंक पैंथर्स अगर ये सब सीख सकते हैं, then they'll be, the competition will be so much closer than it is right now. So I think that becomes a very important part of the games when we look at them. एक और बात है बुल्स की कि उनकी propensity defense भी, even though their defense has been fine, Saurabh Nandal has been good. Mahinder Singh I think has still been a little, advanced tackles बहुत वही करते हैं. मयूर कदम भी किया करता था, but I think um, he's had a better couple of games in the last couple of weeks. So he's been able to contribute to the points table a lot more, and that's been working for Bengaluru Bulls. But अगेन जैसा कि शुभम ने पॉइंट आउट किया, एक प्लेयर पे डिपेंडेंस नहीं चलेगा. आई थिंक वो जमाना गया है, एंड बेंगलुरु बुल्स पर्टिकुलरली शुड नो that shouldn't be the way to go, because they've had Pawan Sehrawat on whom they used to depend entirely. सब कुछ उसी के नाम पे करके दे यूज टू एक्सपेक्ट हिम टू वर्क मिरेकल्स. अब जब वो नहीं है टीम में, देन यू नीड टू नो कि उस एक बंदे के एक जो रोल फिल करने के लिए यू नीड द एंटायर टीम टू वर्क. सो no better team to learn that from than Tamil Talaivas, who've been succeeding because they've been succeeding as a team. So hopefully Bengaluru Bulls figures out what's going wrong and they can get a few wins to keep their plot. They're still like what, second on the table, so I don't see anything happening to their spot anytime soon. पर बहुत सारे टीम्स हैं जो उनसे भी ज्यादा डेस्परेट है. सो वो अगर टेबल की स्पॉट को एक कॉम्प्लिसेंसी के साथ नहीं देखेंगे तो उनके लिए अच्छा होगा. Okay, last team. I've kept them for last because we kept talking about them. Puneri Paltan. Puneri Paltan has had a great week. They've had 3 games, 3 wins in all these games. 41-28 against Haryana, 35-33 against the Bulls, 39-31 against Jaipur. हमने काफी तारीफ किया है Fazal's captaincy. He managed that captaincy record in the last game when he got his 53rd win. Mohit and Aslam have been working very, very well. I think one thing that we have to talk about is Mohit Goyat in do or die raids. इस बंदे का ये जो calmness है, I don't understand it. I hope I could learn. जब भी हमें डेडलाइंस है या कुछ सबमिट करनी होती है, then I think we all could use that composure. Mohit Goyat has been absolutely brilliant in do or die raids. अगर आपको कोई शक है तो प्लीज जाके वो जयपुर वाला गेम देखिए. It was absolutely insane. There were so many situations when he was going for that third raid and he was managing multiple points and coming back. And again, he was also taking the raids to the last 3-4 seconds. तो मेरा टेंशन इस बात से आया कि क्लॉक अभी 5 सेकंड बाकी है, मोहित वापस आएगा कैसे. एंड ही स्टिल मैनेज्ड इट बहुत अच्छे से. ही ड्रू आउट एरर्स फ्रॉम द डिफेंस. इट्स बीन ब्रिलियंट टू वॉच these two youngsters do what they're doing. Akash Shinde ko bhule mat. He's taken Nabi Baksh's place. एक सेकेंड, we'll come to you Shubham. He's taken Nabi Baksh's place. जब मयंक थे यहाँ पे पिछले हफ्ते, हम लोगों ने इस बात पे थोड़ा झगड़ा तो किया था कि नबी बख्श का जो लाइनअप में एक जगह है, इज दैट वारंटेड. एंड वी टॉक अबाउट दिस व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट जोगिंदर नरवाल, व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट सेवरल अदर्स. ओके, वी हैव स्पोकन अबाउट दिस सीजन इन सीजन आउट, जहां यू कैन जस्ट कीप अ प्लेयर ऑन द मैट फॉर एक्सपीरियंस. दे हैव टू कंट्रीब्यूट एज वेल. एंड आई थिंक पुणे हैज गॉन फॉर दैट. पुणे हैज डिसाइडेड कि ओके नहीं, हम अभी जस्ट बिकॉज नबी बख्श फजल को सपोर्ट कर रहा है, that doesn't mean we'll just keep him there all the time. We need somebody who will actively contribute to the points table, which to the scorecard, which has been Akash Shinde. And I think Nabi Baksh is very happy to sit on the bench and cheer them on. And rightly so. His contributions have been more as a support to Fazal. Shubham, that might explain to you ki Fazal has needed that support from Nabi Baksh for some of his tackles. Agar aap dekhenge, he has played better in the games Nabi Baksh is around in, because their understanding is different. I think they understand each other's wavelengths and what their tackling, their preferences are. So when you see, there's obviously the one thing that Fazal is focusing more on, looking at the team and how they're performing. पर अगर आप उन्हें एक डिफेंडर की रोल में देखेंगे, then he's needed that support from somebody like Nabi Baksh. अगर वो है नहीं, then he doesn't take so many risks also. You're right, इस सीजन में फजल ने एज अ प्लेयर से ज्यादा फजल एज अ कैप्टन इम्प्रेस किया है. इट्स बिन द केस फॉर द लास्ट कपल ऑफ सीजंस. एज अ प्लेयर ही हैज डिप्ड अ लिटिल बिट. It's not that insane season that he would have had in the first couple of seasons that he was there, or when he guided Yumumba to the title. I don't think that is the Fazal we are seeing anymore. उनकी उम्र भी हो गई है यार. वो खुद बोलते हैं कि I've become old. I might play for a couple of years and then what? But as a captain, it's great to see him perform so well because he has a team that's willing to listen. He has a team that looks at him for guidance, that looks to him to understand how to play kabaddi. So it's great to see Fazal doing what he's doing. उनके अंदर ये पुनेरी पल्टन टीम बहुत lethal बन गया है. And if they don't make the final, I'm saying this, मैं predict तो नहीं करना चाहती, but if they don't make the final, I think they should be very disappointed because टीम की एक जो मोमेंटम है, कंसिस्टेंसी है, टैलेंट है, इट्स ऑल बिन लीडिंग टुवर्ड्स एटलीस्ट मेकिंग द फाइनल. अगर वहां से whether they win or lose is entirely किस्मत के हाथ में है, but they should at least make the final. So they've been pretty clinical. One thing I think that was quite interesting is Fazal has not been working as a defender very well in the last couple of games. So I think that's something that they'll have to worry about because teams will now prepare for it. Like जैसे हम दूसरे गेम्स में देख रहे हैं या दूसरे टीम्स के साथ देख रहे हैं, अगर फजल एक ऑल्टरनेटिव हुआ, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल व्हेन ही वेंट अप अगेंस्ट अर्जुन देशवाल टैकल्ड हिम ऑलमोस्ट एवरी सिंगल टाइम ही अटैक्ड दैट लेफ्ट कॉर्नर. एंड इफ नॉट एटलीस्ट बोनस तो आराम से लेके वापस आ गया. सो हिज एंकल होल्स हैव नॉट बिन दैट ग्रेट, ग्रिप उतनी अच्छी नहीं रही है. वी आई डोंट नो, मे बी एक फिटनेस इशू हो सकती है. ही इवन गॉट नॉक्ड ऑन द फेस ड्यूरिंग द जयपुर मैच, सो वो उनका संतुलन थोड़ा बिगड़ गया वहां से. It could be all of these things. He was carrying a few niggles here and there as well during the last week of the Pune leg. So ये सारी factors हो सकती हैं. But Pune is looking like a very well-oiled machine, and यहाँ से I think they have only upwards to go. सो वी हैव डिस्कस्ड ऑल ऑफ द टीम्स. 12 टीम्स, मैं 1 घंटे के लिए ऐसे चपड़ चपड़ कर रही हूँ. 12 टीम्स हमने डिस्कस किया है. अभी 8वां हफ्ता शुरू होने वाला है. ओनली 3 वीक्स ऑफ द लीग स्टेज रिमेन गाइज. कैन यू बिलीव इट? हमने ये 1 महीना रोज कबड्डी कर करके पूरा विड्रॉल सिम्टम होने वाला है जब ये खत्म होती है तो. uh, but we've got 3 weeks of kabaddi left, and these 3 weeks are going to be very very important to decide that top 6. So अगर हम अगले हफ्ते के गेम्स देखें तो there's a bunch of very interesting sort of rivalries that we can see. I am personally looking forward to Jaipur Pink Panthers versus Tamil Talevas, which is tomorrow. बहुत interesting teams हैं. They're on different aspects of their, you know, their performances. Let's see who manages to get ahead of this one. The other game that I'm looking forward to actually is UP Yodhas versus Patna Pirates. Simply because Patna Pirates एक बहुत अच्छी team है. I want to see Pardeep versus Shadloui, what happens there. And Pardeep is seeing his old franchise. तो क्या होती है, कैसा जाता है, that'll be something for us to watch. Another very interesting game will be Dabang Delhi versus Bengaluru Bulls. ये एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग गेम होगा because Dabang Delhi is starting to find some form, but Ranveer Sehrawat will hope to make sure that Naveen spends as much time as possible on the bench. So अगर ये कर पाते हैं कि नहीं, या भरत versus Naveen कैसा होगा, this is a very interesting game that I would like to see. Shubham believes that UP versus Pune is a game that he is looking forward to. Um, UP versus Pune, are they playing this week? Hold on. यूपी वर्सेस पुणे इस हफ्ता तो नहीं है ना? यूपी इज प्लेइंग बंगाल वॉरियर्स, पटना पायरेट्स. पुणे तो नहीं खेल रहे हैं इस हफ्ता, if I remember right. But whenever they do play, yes, will be a great game. Yes, so that's about it for this week. बहुत interesting चीजें हुई हैं. These 3 records especially have been absolutely great for the game. बहुत ऐसे long term milestones sort of register हुए हैं which are going to be very difficult to topple down. But again, that gives somebody else an opportunity to stand up and say कि मैं ठीक करूंगा. Like what Shadloui is doing with Fazel. Um, Obviously यहाँ PKL, okay, league हो जाएगा, सब हो जाएगा, and then everybody will go home. But the larger question is also the Asian Games. And इस Asian Games में ये सारे performances बहुत important होंगे because बहुत से teams, like for example आशान कुमार बोल रहे थे कि हम जो भी कर रहे हैं, we are looking at what will be great for the national team. So the eyes and ears of all these selectors, all these guys are wide open to see who is performing well, and the options this time have been immense. The youngsters have been so good. So वो एशियन गेम्स की टीम की जो सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस है, जब उसकी टाइम आएगा, देन सेलेक्टर्स के लिए बहुत ही मुश्किल होगा. But at the same time, we've also got some nice rivalries coming up. Even in Iran, if you look at it, Iran is not the raiding brilliant team it once was. Like they don't have that balance, or at least we think they don't have that balance, because वो talent at least हमें PKL में तो दिखाई नहीं दे रहा. But wahan pe again you have competition for slots like Shadlu now snapping at Fazel's heels. But Fazel is a captain option for them. Captaincy ka jo option hai, I don't see anybody else taking that slot for them. So Shadlu has said also कि left corner ही खेलना है, ये जरूरी नहीं है, मैं कहीं पे भी खेल लूंगा, but I will definitely play for Iran. So these are very interesting sort of conversations to keep in mind जब आप ये जो बचे हुए 3-4 हफ्ते हैं कबड्डी के जब आप देखते हो तो. Like we have running on our screen, the playoffs will happen between 13th and 15th, and the final will be on the 17th. अगर आपको लगता है कि आपको ऑलरेडी मालूम है कौन से टीम्स वो फाइनल में होंगे, तो प्लीज इस कमेंट सेक्शन में आपकी जो प्रेडिक्शंस है वो ड्रॉप कर लीजिए. अगले हफ्ते Mayank will be back, and we will be back here for a few more fights, few more analysis. We'll look at how the teams have performed and see what that top 6 looks like going into the knockouts. Thank you so much for joining us. Please enjoy the World Cup also while you're at it, and stay with Sportstar for all your Kabaddi coverage. Thank you. Take care.